Well, good afternoon and welcome everyone to the Raymond Hall Show. This is Raymond Hall. I am your host, and Errecca Flynn-Walker is your co-host, and we are here with family, friends, and all of the listening audience all over the world. I've got to tell you, it has been some time. I am so glad to be back here. I don't know what to do, so I want to just say thank you to each and everyone who helped to make this possible. And it's just so many people that I do want to thank, but it would just be impossible to thank them all. So I'm going to say thank you to all of the many family and friends. For those of you who don't know, the Raymond Hall Show is all about service. I'm a veteran of the Vietnam period, and I had a heart transplant 16 years ago, and that is attributed to that service. And if you look at our lives in one way, you'll say, oh me, oh my, but if you look at it another way, you'll see that you're just as connected to those that came before you and those that will come after you. And what they had and you're required to have is service. So the Raymond Hall Show is all about service. I've got some wonderful people around me. Miss Errecca Flynn-Walker, she ran away from me. She just did not want to do this thing in regard to service, but she's here. I have a dear friend with me, Miss Lavada, Theus. She and I both work together in the Los Angeles County Commission as well as the California Senior Legislature. And here's a dear brother that came to my bedside, and we wound up going to school together, and I did not know he was just this talented. So welcome, Mr. Derrick Williams, to the show. We want to give everyone a chance to just kind of introduce themselves. Like I said, the show is about service. And at the first Raymond Hall Show, I focused on seniors and focused on veterans. And what I've come to find out, that's not just about service. It's clear that the veteran is the clear demonstration in the community of what that unselfish service is. I don't think anybody went in service because they wanted to get rich. That check was going to be right. The check was lousy. The service was lousy, but you had something that connected you in a way that nothing other did. You had the camaraderie-ship of the fellow veteran. So to all those that are serving across the nation and serving so that others will be at liberty to have service here on the homeland, first and foremost, we want to say thank you. I'm going to turn to the co-host and say, give her a word or two, because I'm talking a whole hour away.
Exactly. How's everyone doing today?
I'm fine.
Yeah. I am so thrilled and excited to be here with this distinguished panel and to just say thank you and welcome.
Okay. Ms. Theus, got a word for us?
Well, I'm really glad to be here today. Raymond has approached me over the years to come and be a part of his show, and I'm here today. I'm really glad to be here.
And we are thankful.
Yes.
Mr. Derrick.
I just want to say, Mr. Hall is one of my mentors and somebody I look up to. So when he asked me to be here, I gladly changed my schedule. Because I'm in awe of the man. So when someone you in awe of asks you to do something, you just oblige. And so I appreciate this opportunity to be of service once again.
Well, thank you so very much. We're going to our first segment today because the California Senior Legislature is important to me, and I'll tell you why. Here's an organization that's about one thing: service. Look around you in your community. Who has the voice that's the most frail? Who is the person that in some communities is almost afraid to go out of their communities and they're almost forgotten? It's seniors. We say, well, we've got young people and we've got this. Everybody is important when it comes to service, and I'll tell you why. The strength of the nation, not the might of the nation. The might of the nation is her bombs and planes and submarines. Do we need it? I don't know, and I don't want to get into that. But the strength of the nation is found in the service of her communities.
Absolutely.
That means that whatever you are, wherever you are in your life, then you're required to give some service. So when we talk to children, they say, well, I'm a child, I'm in school, how do I give service? You give service by going to school, making the best grades that you can possibly make, so you will grow up with the posture of knowing what it means to be an American citizen. You have the liberty to do whatever it is you want to do in the world because someone gave service before you. So give service in school by getting good grades. You say, well, I'm a single parent, or I'm a part of a married family. I'm busy. I got my family to go to. Well, extend the family concept. Check on your neighbor. Check on that person across the street. Don't just go and say, I'm so busy that I'm self-involved in my own. We're going to be taking a quick break because this is the show that's all about service. And when we come back, we're going to be talking to members of the California Senior Legislature. We'll be right back. And we are back. You are with Raymond Hall, Errecca Flynn-Walker,
hello, everyone,
and family and guest
yes,
here at the Raymond Hall Show. On the line, we have Mr. Charles Mitchell. Charles, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Hall.
Okay. Charles has been with the California Senior Legislature now for some years, but he's really a remarkable person. I'm going to do something that he absolutely did not know anything about that I was going to do, but this is something that absolutely must be done. There is a program that I started in 2002 after I had the heart transplant because I met so many people that had given service and nobody knew what that service was. So if anybody ever get a chance, go to the website. It's called the Senior Salute. If you get interested, leave your information, and we're going to see if we can't come to your community to do a Senior Salute. But what I wanted to do here is I wanted to mention someone that's near and dear to all of our hearts, and especially to Mr. Mitchell. This segment is dedicated to a dear friend. Her name is Zelda Hutcherson. Not only was she my friend, but she was my mentor. She taught me many things. She said no when I didn't want to hear no, and she would surprise me and say yes. I would want to serve on something, and she said, no, you're not ready. And I learned to accept what she knew and her guidance. So I know that she's very special to Mr. Mitchell, and I want to dedicate this show to her. She's going to be missed in presence, but she's not going to be missed with her service. Her service stands. This is what the Raymond Hall Show is about. I got to tell you something. If you want to tear apart a community, make the service of no avail. And you can go and see when a service is no avail. People won't pick up the trash in front of their house. People scared to check on their neighbors. Zelda wasn't like that. Zelda's going to go and check on somebody. Zelda's going to make sure that on her block, things are the way they're supposed to be. So I understand that this is a special challenge for you, and I want to thank you for stepping up to the plate and accepting our invitation, especially at the last minute. So talk to us about the CSL. Where did it come from? And this is something, Lavada, that you can join in at any time. I'm talking to them because they are a part of it, but the whole panel, if you have questions or something, just ask those questions. Talk to us about the CSL. Why is it important? How did it get started? What does it do?
Well, Raymond, I can give you a little of the history. I mean, Zelda was the historian on the CSL, but technically, it got started because there was a senator in the California Senate who was interested, and he created a concept called the senior-haired legislators. Mm-hmm. That was a demonstration that was started in 1980.
Okay.
And he thought that it was such a good thing that he went forth after the demonstration project in 1980 to push forth for legislation in 1982. In 1982, the California Senior Legislature was officially established as a senior-haired legislative body. That is, people who had to be the age 60 or over, representing, coming from their respective public service areas, PSAs as we refer to them, so being elected by citizens in their respective communities.
Okay.
And so the fact was, for me, for example, let me make it as simple as I can. For me, I was elected from the LA city, and I represent 3 councilmatic districts, District 9, District 14, District 15.
Okay.
Now, those districts extend from downtown Los Angeles out to San Pedro.
Wow.
Okay. Now, is the CSL the forerunner for other states, or did it follow after other states? Was it innovative in the approach that we needed a legislative body to put forth?
Well, we are the only ones that are still in existence. There were several that started around the same time, but for whatever reason, different states kind of dissolved them.
Okay.
We are the longest running. If we survive this year, we will be 37 years old.
Wow.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay, so basically, we got started on a contribution schedule. People, when they were filing their income tax, had an opportunity of contributing from $1 to $100 on their tax return.
Wow.
Okay, so we're going to get to that part. I don't want to jump over some things here. Okay, so now we hear the name Bagley, Keene Bagley.
Bagley King.
Bagley King. I'll just leave it to Raymond to get it backwards.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. So now, is this the legislation that came out of that, or?
No, Bagley King is a altogether different piece.
Okay. So talk to us about that. What?
Well,
how does
Bagley
that fit
King,
with this?
Well, it really doesn't. Although it restricts. Bagley Keene says that members of a legislative body or members of any regulatory body, no more than 3 of them at a time can get together, and they can't talk about issues that will come before that body. It try to pre-decide issues before it becomes before the body at meeting as a whole.
Okay.
That's Bagley King.
Okay.
That's a simple way to explain it. It is much more difficult to explain than that. But what I tried to give you is the simple explanation. What it does is it prevents members of a group
from meeting.
From meeting
that doesn't make any sense.
Outside of the standard meeting practice.
Okay.
Coming to a decision on an issue.
Okay. So the reason that I asked is because I was reading through the history and kind of doing. Earlier, there seemed to be with seniors, there were meetings that weren't recorded. There was deals that were made that seemed to be a little unscrupulous. And so these laws came into effect not just for the senior legislator, but it came in effect so that things would be more open. I want to move and bridge to talk about just that, how things actually gets done. I mean, does the senior legislator pass bills, laws? How does that process come about?
No, are you directed to me or?
I'm looking at
Yes.
you.
Well, I didn't. Well, Charles is not here.
Okay.
Yeah, we write proposals.
Okay. And where does a proposal come from?
A proposal comes from ideas about problems, concerns, and issues for seniors.
Okay.
My role, I'm out in the senior centers. I'm on the commission. I'm listening to concerns.
Okay.
And for example, one of the laws that we're most proud of is the Death with Dignity that was passed, I think, last year.
Okay.
But that became a proposal that we wrote up. That's what we do as California senior legislatures. Each one of us looking for a problem to try to come up with a solution for
What
it.
was the name of the proposal? The Death with Dignity is the
It's
name of
Death
it?
with Dignity.
Death with Dignity.
Yes.
And where would you find?
Where
would
I
people
find the
it?
problems?
No.
Oh,
Where
that
would
you
people
can
find
go
it?
online.
Problems
You
all
can go
around.
online
So they
and
would go
look
to
up
the
Death with
CSL
Dignity.
webpage.
Death with
Where would they
Dignity.
go?
And see, I just had that on something. What that Senate bill is.
So it's a Senate bill that
Yes.
was
Okay.
passed.
But as I'm thumbing through this, I can find the
Okay.
But
exact
you can
legislation.
go to the web page.
Yes.
And you can find that
There
information
is
on the web page. That's what
a whole organization called Compassion and Caring,
Yes.
whose whole focus is continuing to push this piece of legislation throughout the country. Because I don't know if people recall, there was this young lady who left California to go to Oregon because she had this terminal illness that she wanted to die on her own terms from.
Right.
She didn't want to be
In the hospital.
in the hospital. She didn't want to
Being a
be
convalescent.
She didn't want to do that.
No.
She wanted to enjoy her life and die the way she wanted to. So
dignity.
the dignity law gives
So-
them the
so-
option to.
So someone in the
here it is.
CSL picked it up as a proposal.
One of our members, Saul Feingold,
FIGO.
and another man I see here, Jim Levy, worked together to get a proposal to Californians to give them the right to end their lives under certain circumstances. You have to be, a sound mental abilities.
Right.
concern.
But
Mhm.
overall, staying on top of things, the proposal comes from concerns heard in the community.
Mm-hmm.
The proposal is written up, and then what happens with this idea? It's not yet a proposal.
Proposal
yet.
is written up. We have our legislative session in October.
That's
Okay,
what I'm trying to
legislative
get
session.
to.
Okay.
Okay.
All of the senior legislatures, we get there. We want the only organization that gets to meet in the assembly room and then go into
The
the
only
Senate
one.
chambers.
Congratulations.
Chambers.
Right. Okay.
And we work on the proposals. We read them. We talk about them. We go through the pros and cons. And we decide. It probably starts out as maybe, I'm going to say 100 proposals.
Okay.
But we end up at the end of our session coming up with 10 priorities.
Okay.
10 priorities.
And that is established through our various committee meetings where we've gone through them and we've discussed them
Okay.
and
So-
ranked them in a order, 1
So
to
a
10.
proposal comes out of the community at the annual session, depending on your committee assignment. I mean, now you all help me out if I'm wrong here. Okay, so you go to your committee assignment. The committee assignment, I myself is on housing and transportation. We'll look at something and we'll rate those proposals coming out, and then when we get back to general session, we do that again. Is that right?
When we get back to general session, yes, we
We
vote.
do it again. Okay.
vote.
So now,
And then they determine which are the 10 highest ranking proposals of those that were presented during our
Out of the
legislative
100.
session. Yes.
okay.
And
Now,
that was
Mr.
just a
Mitchell,
guesstimate.
talk to us about the significance of the California Senior Legislature-Assembly, as well as the importance of the California Senior Legislative Senate.
Well, basically, I can say what has been said is correct. Proposals can start in either house,
Okay.
the Senate or the Assembly, and the proposal goes through both houses. If it passes the Assembly, it goes to the Senate the next day for the Senate committee to review and approve it, and then it goes on the Senate floor, just like those from the Assembly. Then once they have cleared both houses, then the joint members, both House and Assembly members, get together and we rank the proposals that have passed both houses, and that's how we come up with our top 10.
Okay, so now we're getting back to it came out of the community,
Yes.
and now we have these procedures that must
Be followed.
From the CSL, and now there's a point where the community can get back involved. That was my question about the Assembly as opposed to the Senate. Let's say that Mr. Williams here had something that he put to the CSL. The CSL said, okay, that sounds good. We ranked it as one of the 10. What could he do to give this thing support to make it move forward toward becoming a law? What could he do?
Well, the first thing and the most important thing is that when he contacts a member of the senior legislature with his idea, he should also contact his legislator.
That's what I'm talking
Okay.
about.
Contact
information.
You
Okay.
need to make contact. That's the first thing.
So the service doesn't stop with putting forth something to the CSL. You've got to continue in service to say the person to whom I give my vote, I need to be contacting them as
Exactly.
well to say, here is something that we're proposing, and when it comes before you, this is something that I support, and I'm coming to you because I'm going to go through the community and I'm going to get as much support as I can. So your constituents may be supporting it too. So
can I just add
yes.
to that? Because this is the critical piece.
Okay, critical.
Once you get the proposal out there, you have to get out there and walk the halls and push your bill, trying to get
lobby
legislature
right.
to carry the bill. They're the ones that do the actual bill.
Okay.
I became really involved with my state assembly member, Sebastian Willie Thomas. And, he's a young man, and like a lot of young people, senior issues are not on the top of their agenda.
Right.
They're
No.
just not. But I was constantly there telling him what our concerns was, getting him to be a supporter, and he has become an advocate for us.
Good,
so
good,
you
good.
have to get out and advocate for your positions.
Well, his family has a rich history of listening.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yes, very good.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But you were there for him to listen to.
Yes.
And that was the main thing.
Because I went to, and this was on my time.
Oh,
Made sure
exactly.
any time he was at an event,
You were there.
they were over at the mall doing something, I was there. I'm in California Senior Legislature, making sure he knew who I was. Because in so many things, politics, it's all about who knows
you know.
We definitely need more advocates like Miss Theus, and we want to definitely commend her for that. We're going to be wrapping up this session soon. Let's talk about some things. We've covered the process. We've covered the important thing that it becomes a law through the regular assembly process. Let's talk about how people get involved. We can get what are ways that a person can get involved? Wait a minute. Before we do that, let's talk about this funding situation.
The funding and support.
Okay. The funding and support. So with the funding, there was a time when you could check off. Can you still check off?
It's still on the tax
no.
427. It's not there anymore.
We have. It is our hope to be back on the checkoff.
So we got kicked to the curb.
Oh no! How did that happen, girl?
And I think what happened, you have to generate $250,000. I think was that marker, and we didn't.
Okay.
So you get kicked off.
Pay
the tax
attention.
check
Pay
off.
attention to line
America.
427.
Yes,
correct?
it was 427.
That's it, line 427.
All right.
So
America.
we have just gotten to a point where my assembly member helped to push that through, and I understand we are. Hopefully, we'll be back on the.
I need everyone to listen.
This is very
Okay.
important.
I need everyone to listen. this nation,
This is where the support needs to come in, definitely.
this nation has gone to a process at times of not funding as it should be, but funding as it would be. Let us cut something out of the budget, and if someone wants something in the budget, let's find a way to re-tax it or refund it another way. So it's interesting, the people who have given service to the strength of the nation and who at times should be the benefactors of that service are now having to have someone to make a contribution so even
They can be
their
on the
voice will be heard.
Well, the verse will be heard.
So what I'm saying to you is this. I laugh. I have 16 wonderful years that I would not have because I have this heart transplant. With me, it's nothing about but service. Okay? I'm going to make dollars, I'm going to spend dollars. That's the way it is. What you have to have, though, is service. The service of you is what's going to stand. This is what's important, America. I need everyone. You heard Mr. Mitchell say that we were one of 7 or 8, and now we're the only one standing. What must happen is that everyone must support and give service one way or another. If you're in California, find out where that checkoff is and make that check off.
And if you're not, you still donate.
Your cup of coffee costs more than some are willing to make a contribution, when the contribution of you is going to stand a lot longer than that cup of coffee that you're going to drink. If you are outside of California, then your service to the contribution should be, let me make sure that the last one standing doesn't fall the way the others did. Have some consciousness, America. This is about service. The wall of service doesn't start with you, and it's never going to end with you. But you are required to have some service.
Today.
Yeah.
This is Raymond Hall at the Raymond Hall Show. We are going to be taking a small break, and we will be right back. When we be right back, we'll start with Mr. Derrick Williams. We'll be right back.
Right. Because you know you got to.
The losing side of play.
And we are back. We are talking with the California Senior Legislature. We have Mr. Charles Mitchell with us. We have Lavada Theus with us, and Mr. Derrick Williams, and the co-host, Miss Errecca Flynn-Walker, and myself.
Greetings. Good afternoon.
I'm Raymond Hall. And when we took away, Derrick was about to tell us something. Derrick?
Well, I have more of a question to the CSL.
Okay.
And that being, what is the CSL doing to make themselves known to those who are not aware? Because up until the moment that I met you, I never heard of a California senior legislator.
Right.
So all those times that I paid my taxes,
and you never
I had
knew.
no idea that there was a senior organization that was fighting for rights,
Right.
that I could have been of service to. So it's kind of like rights. If you don't know your rights, it's the same as not having rights.
That's right.
So if I don't know that you exist, then how can I support you?
Right.
Okay. Well, I would suggest that you've raised a question that maybe in some of the training sessions that it should be put to.
Well, this is sort of
all
at the
of
top
the
of
CSL.
our
The
agenda
top of
now.
our agenda.
Okay.
Coming on the Raymond Hall Show
Absolutely.
to get the word
To
out.
get the
Okay.
word out.
The last year or so, we've done a lot with, we're seniors. So a lot of us are not real competent or comfortable with the technology.
Right.
But we're working on getting to use the technology to get the word out, getting on Facebook, getting our
Right.
webpage set up,
Right.
getting advertisements out.
Advertising and marketing so
Well,
that
you
people
know,
Now,
know
and it's
about
up
you.
to the senior legislatures to talk and spread the word about who we are. Individually. I'm going out to senior centers. This is one of the brochures that we've had printed up.
Okay.
We have
Okay.
little postcards
Okay,
with
exactly.
information.
Okay. Well, because we have a global office, what about the web address? What is the web address
web
for the CSL?
address
If
is-
somebody's sitting over in England and saying, I'm going to visit America, but what's the web address that they can
They have
find the
seniors in the
CSL?
UK, in England, in every
They're
part of
everywhere.
the world.
Yeah. So
You
what is the
can
web
go
address?
to www.4, the number 4, CSL.org.
Okay. And if they go to the web page and they want to find out about, they want to know how they can support,
You can
is
support.
that information
Yes, that's,
in the web page, on the web page
yes,
as
we
well?
got PayPal going now.
We got PayPal.
I tell you, we
Hey,
coming
yes,
in.
we coming out.
Okay.
The
All right.
CSL is coming out. Yes.
So we realize that we do need to advertise. I had
Yes.
never heard of CSL until I'm gonna say 3 years ago,
Really?
when I became a part of the commission, and I was like, "Well, what is this?
Right. What do they do? Like,
What
who
do they
are
do?
Where do they come
and
from?
we used to say it was the best kept secret in
Yes.
California
The best kept secret.
because we do have a lot of power. We're not using it.
collectively.
No,
Okay.
collectively.
So,
So we need to get the word out to everyone. Everyone, not just those of us who are
Not the
60
ones that are
plus.
senior, 60 plus.
That
Okay.
had been the target group in the past. I
You're
said,
a pre-senior
if,
at
if
50
you're
pretty
lucky,
much.
you're going to be a senior.
okay. So we're going to wrap this session up. I want to share something with you around the world that was just shared with me yesterday. Mr. Williams told me he went to the VA and he met a man that just had this urge to talk to him. And the man was 85?
80.
80 years old.
Yep.
And we don't have the time for me to go through the whole story, but the bottom line was the family of this 80-year-old had bought him some technology, and the veteran at 80 says, I'm 80 years old. I don't want to learn nothing new. And that struck me. You don't have the right to say, I want to stop learning. Because wherever you close the door on learning, you're going to close the door on forward motion.
Yes.
See, we want to talk about the young people aren't kind to seniors. Sometimes seniors aren't kind to young people. Cut it out.
When you live, which one day the young people will understand, when they live to be 80, they will have the luxury to be able to say, I don't want to be bothered. However, really they do. They just want someone to sit down. And
they're needy.
The
They're
Raymond
like the
Hall
children.
show is all about service.
They are. They need you.
And I'm going to say something to you, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but I'm going to say something to you because it's a conscious thought. It's very clear that I'm an African-American male. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. We often went to Mississippi, and sometime I would go in a cotton field, and I would look at that cotton field knowing that there were people before me who were born, all of their lives worked, and at the end of their life died in a cotton field. They were willing to take everything that happened in their life so that I would have a day that I would be able to come to you through this medium and talk to you about service. Whatever your challenge is, ladies and gentlemen, you're required to give service. No excuses. If you have a day that's a little difficult than others, live that day. Your day ain't going to stretch 24 hours to 25 on Tuesday. It's still going to be 24. Will the problem still be there on Wednesday? Maybe. It's all about service. So seniors, be kind, because the people who are behind you need for you to finish the job that you've started. At your rest, let everyone know that with the work of me came the service of me. Young people, keep living, keep learning, keep understanding, keep having compassion. Because I'll tell you what was personally insulting to me. When someone takes it upon themselves to do service that helps someone else, they're not looking at themselves. They're looking at who they can help. And we all must have a consciousness about that service. I want to thank Mr. Mitchell. I want to thank Ms. Theus. I always thank Brother Derrick. He's in our next segment, and I want to thank our co-host. And I got to tell you something. None of this would be possible if we did not be have the opportunity to be in this wonderful studio.
Yes,
this is Morris Media Live, and I've got to tell you, it is technically advanced.
It is.
Okay. So
I'm so thrilled and honored to be here. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster ride right now.
Is that right? Well, that's a good thing,
Yes.
because someone that's very, very special to me, Mr. Johnny Morris, is part of the family. Miss Felicia Morris is part of the family, and they make things possible when someone wants to get the word out about something. The California Senior Legislature is a part of my heart, and if it had not been for them, we wouldn't have it. We're going to close up this session with
Raymond, one
another
comment.
break.
Senate
Yes.
Bill 128, that's the bill for end-of-life options.
End of life
All right,
options.
thank you.
Senate Bill 128.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. We are going to take a
Senate
quick break,
bill.
and then when we come back, we're going to be with Mr. Derrick Williams, and we're going to talk about Chapter 31 for veterans. We'll be right back.
Tell me.
Introduction.
Precautionary man.
All right, we are back, and again, this is the Raymond Hall Show, and this show is all about service. I am so thankful that we are back on the air. I don't know what to do. This section we're going to talk about, this is our veteran section. As you know, we talk about different things, and this is our veteran section. But I don't want people to get up and go away and say, well, I'm not a veteran, so it don't include me, so I'm going to move on. Yes, it does include you. Chapter 31 is a issue that everyone should know about, because you or someone in your family may also benefit by it, not just the veteran, but the veteran's family. Miss
Errecca Flynn-Walker, good afternoon again. Greetings to all of our listeners and people tuning in on the internet, on the world, and people tuning in on the World Wide Web. Welcome again. What we're going to do is
we're going to welcome
Mr.
Derrick Williams.
Mr. Derrick Williams
to the show.
He's a distinguished panel guest, and we're looking forward to hear his vital, informative information that he's going to be rendering.
Okay. She has some bio information on Mr. Williams that she's going to be giving you with, and then we're going to turn it over to Derrick. Let him give us a little information about his passion and his heart. So go ahead.
Okay. What we're going to be doing is speaking today with Mr. Derrick Williams. He has 23 years of service, 8 active years USMC, and 15 years Army Reserve.
You blew by that Marine Corps pretty fast.
Wow! USMC and 15 years of Army Reserve. On Monday, the 15th of 2017, he will be retiring from the Armed Services. Masters of Art and Theological Studies from Faith Bible College, Tacoma, Washington. He has worked as a personal enrichment coordinator with a nonprofit assisting veteran on Chapter 31, developing an achieve job and life skill sets goals. He is currently attending HMI, a behavioral science college, in order to better equip and help veterans to cope and transition to more productive, balanced lifestyles. We welcome him to our panel.
Oh, well, thank you. I want to talk real quickly about how me and Mr. Hall met. Me and Mr. Hall, we actually met when I was a personal enrichment coordinator with vocational Chapter 31, which stands for Vocational Rehabilitation Education Program. And basically, for those who are not familiar with it, it is a program whose primary function is to help veterans who have a service-connected disability, for them to become more suitable for employment development, and to achieve independent daily living. So the key to that is you must have been active duty at some point.
Okay.
And you must have a minimum of 20% disability rating
Okay.
in order to be qualified.
Now, we're talking all over the world, Derrick. So when we talk about 20% disability rating, what does that mean?
Basically, what it means is like there's a lot of disabilities that we have as veterans that are not visible to the naked eye.
Okay, let's come up out of the weeds. 20% disability.
20%.
So a person in the course of service to the nation
Absolutely.
was injured, and that injury is rated at 20%.
20%.
At a percentile
All right,
rate.
thank you.
But
Okay.
by the Veterans Administration.
By the Veterans
Okay, by the Veterans
by the
Administration.
Veterans Administration.
Okay, so I can't go to my doctor, Dr. Bill, around the corner and say, Dr. Bill, I got hurt in service. And he said, okay, Ray, I'm going to give you 20%.
Well, you could, but you won't be qualified.
Got it. Okay.
You have to go to the VA hospital to get rated. And so what you need to do is you need to go online. There's a called VONAP, which is basically you can apply online. And the form number that you would fill out is the DA form 28-1900.
Okay, so the foundation is you have to have a service disability in order to qualify for the benefits possibly of Chapter 31.
Right. Let's back. There's three qualifications.
There's three qualifications.
Okay.
One is 20% disability.
20% must.
Okay.
The other is very important. You must have had an honorable
Okay.
or a other than honorable discharge.
So the dishonorable discharges do not apply.
Right. If you get a dishonorable discharge, you will not qualify for the program.
Period.
Okay. So you have to have honorable or under conditions of honor.
Right.
Under
Okay.
conditions
Yes.
of honor.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to have that
Okay.
in order to be qualified. And then on top of that, you have to apply for it.
Okay.
So just because you have the other two, if you don't go to that VON app, which is the e-benefits online, if you don't apply for it, you won't get it.
Okay. So you have to have a certain rating. You have to make application, and you have to have a discharge under conditions of honor.
Correct.
Okay. Now, let's say somebody has all of that, and they want to. They're a senior. Okay, you 60. You're Vietnam era.
You have the 20%.
You know, and you have the 20%. Okay, so you go and they approve you. Now, what does that do?
Well, it opens up several things.
Okay.
One is it allows you to be evaluated to determine like what is your skill set. Are you marketable? Are you employable? If you're not employable, then there's programs where they will teach you the modern, well, I don't want to say modern day, but up to date skill set to meet the market.
Okay.
Also, and this is really important, is it allows you to go back to school.
Okay.
You can get approved. I know people who haven't been to school in 20-something years. They go to their counselor, they get approved, and now they're approving them for like MBA programs.
Right.
And what they will do is they will pay for your school, like in its entirety. And on top of that, you will receive a stipend, which is a basic allowance for housing stipend.
Okay.
So while you're going to school, they'll pay you. And you can still be working.
You can, but is there a certain amount of money that you cannot make, or is there? So there's no amount. If you're working, you still qualify for this particular Chapter 31.
You could be making $1 million a year. The only caveat is that whatever job or program that you get approved for, it cannot agitate your service-connected disability. So, for example, if you're struggling with PTSD.
So what's an example?
Hold it. We're talking to a world audience.
Right.
So I don't want to get down in the weeds because we're talking PTSD and some people hear PTSD. I heard some lady tell me, and please don't call me with it. Okay, if your dog got PTSD, I'm cool with it. I'm cool. I'm good.
It's just an example. It's just an example of
what I want to talk about here is I want to stay above board so everybody can see. Sometimes a veteran has passed on.
Right.
Yes.
And because he was 100% service connected, he passed away of that service connection, that surviving spouse
is qualified.
spouse qualified to use the benefits?
Yeah, there's several benefits, and they would have to contact the VA counselor to see what they specifically could qualify for.
Okay.
But there's a couple things that's connected. Even like I have a stepdaughter who's getting ready to go to San Francisco State, and so even though she doesn't rate my Chapter 31 benefits, but because I have a 0% disability rating in California, they will pay for any Cal State school.
Right.
Wow,
So
that's
they
beautiful.
cover, so any veteran who's living in California, if you have a 0% rating or above, and this is the Cal Vet, this is not
Right.
Chapter
So
31.
wait, what,
but that's important to know.
I'm not a vet. What does 0% mean?
0% just basically they say, we know you got problems, we haven't assessed you, so we'll give you 0 just to say we acknowledge that you're not the same as when you came in.
Let me be a little bit more.
So,
let me be a
0%
little bit more
acknowledgement.
specific.
what are some examples of a 20%
Okay.
disability?
Let me clear up a few things. When I was in service, I went to the hospital several times, and it was recorded what I went to the hospital for. The fact that when I got discharged and a claim was made, I was automatically given a service-connected rating, but of 0.
And that meant that you were
I'm a service-connected, but it was 0.
qualified
And
for
when you say
everything.
service connected, what do you mean? When you say
That
service
means
connected?
that the injury that I incurred happened or was
When you were at work.
aggravated
While you were
while
at
I
While
was
you
in
were
service.
While you were in service.
Now,
Okay.
what happened was over the years, I continued to go to the hospital, and they saw that this injury was worsening, and so then they upped the 0 to 10%.
Okay.
Okay.
So why did they up it to 10%? I don't know.
Based on
0
his-
is like,
based on his medical
I'm thinking
condition,
nothing.
based on
When
conditions.
you go to the
So-
hospital and they treat you for that illness and they see that it's worsening, that's how that
It
increased.
increases.
Right.
And with the illness
And,
or whatever the
and
treatment.
we don't have the time to
Okay.
keep getting into all of that. So I need to wrap this up with the 31 to talk about this.
It's
Here's what this is
31.
important. 31 is important because 31 doesn't have a age limit
Okay,
to
no
it.
agent. What
If you are service connected and
serve-
meet that
with the
meet
20%
bar,
and you apply,
get to
go
go
to school, get a free
and
education.
apply.
Apply. You get to apply.
Okay, for that benefit.
Exactly.
And there's so many benefits.
That come
We're
along
going to
with
say that you can go and talk to your counselor, and they'll talk about the benefits that possibly you benefit from. The later service generation, they're looking at Chapter 35, so that's
Chapter
different from Chapter 31. But there's benefits on that one as well.
What's the Chapter
And
35 benefit?
the thing I want to interject that's really most important, because sometimes you can get lost in all the different chapters, et cetera, et cetera. But the one thing, there's a lot of benefits for veterans.
Period.
But they don't tell us about them. The way that most veterans find out about the benefits are through other veterans.
Okay.
So what I recommend
Word
to
of
any
mouth.
veteran, I don't care what era you came through, is you need to get connected with a local group, whether it's the VFW, whether it's American Legion, whether it's going to the VA hospitals, and get around other veterans. Even my Chapter 31, I didn't find out from it through the VA. I found out through another veteran who was saying, hey, why are you not taking advantage of Chapter 31?
Wow.
And I'm like, well,
What
what
is
the heck is
Chapter
Chapter 31? And so even with the group that we were among where we met, that's what made that so powerful, was because you had a bunch of veterans who were accessing different things. Like, for example, Mr. Hall, when I came through, I had 20%. So I barely qualified.
Right.
After talking with Mr. Hall and him giving me direction, just recently they increased mine from 20% to 60% because he showed me the steps
that you needed to take.
that I needed to take.
Right.
And so our biggest resource and our biggest
Is our
service
brother.
is
Your-
one another.
Is one another.
Right,
brothers and
because
sisters.
I mean, let's keep it real. The government is not trying to pay us.
Okay.
No.
Well, let's say this, and I'm talking from experience. I'm 100% service
So you
connected.
100%.
I'm 100% service connected. But I need veterans to understand something. We're going to wrap this up because this hour just goes really, really fast. There are 2 P's when it comes to veteran and the Department of Veterans Affairs. The 2 P's are personal and process. We veterans, we go to the Department of VA. Hey, this is what happened to me when I'm in service. You need to do something about it. The VA says, okay, that's personal. And we deal with a process. But I got hurt. You did me wrong. Here's the wound. They said, okay. But that's personal. We deal in a process. When you understand that the Department of Veterans Affairs is the second largest, at one time, it may not be anymore, but at one time it was the second largest United States department with the full faith and force of a United States department. It cannot go and deal personally with every veteran. It has a process by which it works.
But this young man just said that the veterans don't know. They know they have services, but they don't know about the services and how they apply to them. So what we want to do is the same thing that we want to do with the CSL and the veterans, is put them together and get the word out in the movement so that more people, like my dad is, an ex-military, his branch was the Navy. He doesn't know about a lot of different information, just as Chapter 31, so it's very vital.
That's why you love your co-host. Okay.
It's very vital.
We're talking about a process.
A process.
Okay. The veteran must, no matter how they hear, no matter how they engage, they must come to an understanding that I must put my claim together in accord with the process that the Department of Veterans Affairs requires.
That's important.
And when I put it in the process, then I'm going to get a response from that process. We've got less than 2 minutes, and we're going to wrap this up. Look, I want to thank everyone who came apart to be a part of this show.
Yes.
I want to thank the participants. I want to thank the listeners. I want to thank those who made it possible. I just want to thank everyone. And I want to say to everyone that this really is about service. It's not about what you may think. It's about service. Think broader. Think stronger. Think past you. Think past the generation to which you are a part. What is it that you can do right here, right now, that you would be a part? Now, I want to thank our special guest that's in the studio with us. And
yes, Miss Linda Littleton. She's here in the studio with us at Morris Media. She came over.
Every moment.
Thank you so very much, and we're so happy that you came in and stuck with us. I want to thank those that are at the various houses of worship, and I want to give Miss Walker a moment to talk about an upcoming guest. Possibly the
upcoming guest possibly would be Estelle Van Meter, board members, to be here to sit down and talk about the things that are going on in our community right there at 7600 South Avalon Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, 90003. We look forward to making an impact on the community, working together with the CSL, also with the veterans, because they're all a part of our community. The veterans are there, and I'm there, and so we would like to extend an invitation to see you on next week at the same time.
Okay, so look, that's the end of our show. We want to say thank you, and we are going to see you this time next week. Thank you so very much. God bless you. Have a great day.
Wow, that was a good one.